That is a big danger, because we have to realize two people make the marriage work, not one person. It's always going to be hard if one person is making the marriage work, the other one is finding faults to make the marriage not work. So that is the danger of pride, and this is where other elements come in. Even if you look at the Bible, we look at about the Pharisees and the Sadducees. They were filled with pride. The questions they used to ask Jesus was so that they could satisfy and tell how good we are. And they missed the resurrected, the King, the one they were actually seeking, the one they were actually talking about. They missed him totally. He was standing in front of them. He was the one who's answering the question, and yes, they missed him, and they were the very ones who put him on the cross. And that's what we can do to our marriages. If we don't understand that pride does not belong in marriage, I have to say, like we talked about last week, I have to treat the other person as the weaker vessel. I have to treat them at the place where I can say, you know what? You need more space, I'll give you more space. You need more time, I'll be the person that gives you the more time. I'll make the environment so good that you will be growing to that environment place, instead of making it a place where we're cutting each other down.
While you were saying that, I'm reminded of Peter when he came to Jesus and said, Lord, if my brother comes and sins against me, how many times should I forgive them? Pride will not forgive them even once. I got high standard. You should be the man. You should be the woman. You should be the child. When you don't want to forgive, you get your hard-heartedness. But what did Jesus say to him? Okay. He said 7 times 70. 70 times 7. That's a lot of times to forgive. Every day, if he truly comes back, he said, like, oh, please forgive me. He said, forgive them. He comes back. We apply that to church members or family members. Why don't we apply that to marriage? Because in marriage is where a bunch of forgiveness is needed. How many of you agree with me who are married? And those watching, come on, say yes. Because it's important. Because there is going to... See, the problem is we think marriage is perfect thing. Marriage is where you actually build on. It's nothing perfect. Everything is perfect in Christ. And I tell you, once you realize that, like Pastor Nikhil was saying, you make an environment of building each other up. They will fail, but I'm like Christ. I'll forgive you. When you bring Christ and make Christ the center of that marriage, everything goes well. Amen. So, Pastor Felix, I've got a question for you. This is to do with communication. Communication and the choice of words have been attributed to multiple marriage breakdowns. And that's a very important statement. Do you see the truth in this statement?
Yes, I do see truth in that, because if we see the phone that we use today, it goes through the communication and there is a line that contacts. But when the weather is bad and it's raining, what happens? The communication breakdown, you can't understand the other person, what he's saying and what is happening. You might hear one word and you might think, what's the next word he's saying? So I believe the communication is communication, and the choice of word in marriage, either it will make us or break us. Communication and the words we say to each other, for example, a man, he always talks straight. Like if you want to go, if he's thinking or making some decisions, he is like a straight line. But a woman is like, when she makes the same decision, she won't go straight. She will go with the details. What's happening, what's not happening, this and that. So what happens if, for example, if our men want to tell the woman that today you cook the rice, and again I go to salt, like so they put the salt or a little bit more soft. He will tell the wife straight, it is soft. But what you want to tell her, it is good. You can do it more better. But if the woman takes and says, oh, that means, like the word, he did say it rightly, but when the woman analyze it, I'm not putting them down, but I'm just saying, what will she say? Oh, that means you think I can't make the food. That means you think my mother never taught me how to make it. That means, she will go all around. At the end, he'll say, oh, that means your mother knows how to cook. See, now why I'm saying that? Because the communication, the words that comes, now he didn't mean all that thing. But the words and the choice of words always make a breakdown there when we don't understand each other. So I believe even if they go out for dinner, and then the same time they're sitting and they ordered the food, and he want to tell the wife, see, this is the best one, this is how you should make. see, their happy romantic moment will go off. Why? Because, oh, now you're saying this one is good again. But what he was telling, that's where the communication, that's where, I'm not saying that only the wives do that. Even when the wife says something, like for example, I will tell this, myself too, as a man, I just want the summary of it. When we talk, sometimes I really have to listen what my wife is saying. Because I know that she start, I know the end. But she will go like this, yeah. But I have to be patient. So even in that part, husbands have to be patient for that communication to work. Because if that doesn't work, what will happen? There will be a breakdown. Another example, I was listening and this preacher was preaching and he was like talking to the congregation, and this preacher was preaching and he was cracking out jokes even. So there were a husband, a wife, and also was a friend who came with them. So what happened? Whenever the preacher preached and tell the joke, the wife looks at the husband to laugh, like to share the joy. But the husband looks at the friend and sharing the joy. And the pastor is watching. So 3-4 times he tells a joke, but whatever the husband is doing is looking at the friend and sharing the joy. But that's where the communication was breakdown. Because first I want to encourage this and say that when two came together, when two comes together, husband and wife, any sad news, any bad news, or any kind of news or anything, you should first share to your wife or to your husband. Not to your children, not to your parents. It should first come there. And that's where, when you come together and share it, there will be no communication breakdown. And when there is no communication breakdown, there is no marriage breakdown.
Very true, Pastor. That really makes sense, because many times I've actually shown statistics that I like to share with you. Number 2, the second most important cause of divorce in the world, in space, I'm not talking about the outside world, in the world which concerns Christians, it's communication breakdown. That's why I brought up this question, communication breakdown. You know, I wrote something down when you were saying, it came to me. When wife says onions, man thinks potatoes. All right? And if somehow they come close, the wife says garlic, the man says ginger, yes. So no matter what you say, because of personality difference, there is always that. You know why? Pastor just ended it out very clearly. Because it is the second most largest cause of divorce is communication, because there is very few talking going on. See, before marriage, you are always at night. You got, like, if you are in Lambasa, you got the mosquito net down and the lights are off, but the light is on. Right? That's why I'm saying that. You are up there, hat batti bande off again, but hat ala batti on. How many of you got that? Okay, so you all night you're talking. But as soon as you get married, where's all the talk gone to? See, you know why that relationship was building stronger? Because you were communicating more. You were telling, hey, my sister had a birthday. You know her birthday? She likes this. You will talk everything. Your dog's name, your favorite color, everything. You'll tell them what happened at work, right? Pastor said communication. But when it comes to you, once you're married, set. You're laughing with Pastor. And the wife is sitting. Yeah, you enjoy. Yeah, I'm enjoying. No, it happens. You know, sometimes we sit right in the front, and when the pastor says, come on, tell your neighbor and say, what do you say something? What do you say? No, it's a good to see you. And he says, a favor of God looks good on you. So I turn around, my wife is there, and it's interesting. I need to say it to her. Well, she comes with me. Why should I need to say it to her? She's part of you. Whom else are you going to say? How many of you are getting the message? Okay, thank you. Pastor Nikhil, let's go into the number 1 reason why there is a lot of divorces. I mean, if you know what is the number 1 reason, I'll tell you in a moment. Extramarital relationships don't just happen without purposeful intent and gradual loss of affection between couples. Can you talk more about this?
Okay. Nothing begins without a seed. So we say this. Sometimes we talk about these things because every time, like last week, if you were here, you would say we talked about this. If you create options in your marriage, you are creating problems in your marriage. See, for example, if I have my wife as my source of affection, see this word, source of affection. The idea is if I want affection, I go to my wife. Okay? The moment I create an option where I say, if I need affection, I don't need to go to my wife. I can go somewhere else. It can be anything. Like for example, it might be just one of your old friends from high school on Facebook. You know them, you just chat with them, and you find that joy again. These are the little seeds that you are planting, and every seed brings harvest. It brings harvest. You are creating and foretelling what is going to be your harvest. So every time you do this, so you creating this element of options. For example, if I need intimacy, I don't need to go there. I can go to my computer screen. I can go to pornography. Or I can create any element. Every time I do all these things, I am creating the source of anything else to go away. I am changing my source. If we know as Christians, if I change my source from God in my life, everything goes haywire. Same way, every time God looks at his church, he looks at it as a marriage vow. He looks, this is my bride. So he tells the man, love your wife as I have loved the church. He tells the wife to submit to the husband as the way the church submits to him. So the idea is always that you have to find source in each other. So extramarital relationships should not actually exist in the first place. We all know that. But why do they still exist in Christian environments? Because we are still trying to look away from the source of what we're supposed to be, our marriage is supposed to be. Our marriage is supposed to be the source of our affection. Our marriages are supposed to be a source of our friendships. Marriage is supposed to be a source of our security, our responsibility, our whatever we need in life, marriage is supposed to fulfill it first and foremost. It's not perfection, but it's supposed to fulfill it foremost. So if we start creating these options elsewhere, and then these seeds are coming up, it's like saying, for example, if someone comes up and says to you, you know what, I don't know, for example, after 9 months, a girl comes to you and says, I don't know how I got this child. You will say something's wrong with you. You will say, you know where you got this child from, because there was a seed planted, that's why you have this child. There is no way you can tell me this child just came out of nowhere. Okay, there's only one Jesus. Please, leave him there. So that is where we need to understand the moment we are creating seed. That's why even as husbands and wives, stop, cut out all those things. You think that this won't have any problems because I have self-control. I have the ability to make the right decisions. I'm telling my wife everything. She knows everything. That's why it's all okay. See, there is certain things what we call boundaries. Okay? Don't say too close to the fence that you fall over. Okay? Because that's what will happen. You fall over and then you say, why I'm here? Because you are so close, and that's what is happening.
That's very true, Pastor Nikhil. And it is adultery and extramarital relationship is one cause of so many women or men, not so much as men, the women also, they divide. So we need to watch over that. And nobody is Superman. They can say, well, I'm spiritual and I can handle this. It's just a friend. It starts like this. It's just a friend. I'm open. I tell my wife I'm talking to them, or I tell my husband I'm talking. Talk to each other. We need to know each other more, right or wrong? It is right. I know most of you are saying right inside but not outside. Okay, Pastor Felix, let's take another turn now. And since you have two of those, so I'll just ask you this question. Can having children add to the pressure or a relationship meltdown? Having children from, and you're married and you are, like most people are surviving marriage and then you have children. So can it add to the pressure of the meltdown of marriage?
Yes. First of all, I say that having children is a blessing from God. So if it's a blessing from God, and when you start seeing a blessing, it will be okay with the parent. But I believe when the blessing comes, it's the handling of the blessing, or parenting, how we parent the children. Parenting the children, looking after them, teaching them, because everything the children will learn is from the parents. So, and also, like if husband and wife, both of them working, and they come home and they have to look after, and when they don't share the workload, like in the daytime might be the grandparents there or the nanny is looking after, but when you come home, both of them have to share the work, cook the dinner, look after, change the diaper, and even in the night, both of you are tired. And when you are sleeping and the baby is crying, who will feed the baby? What happens in that? Even that's where it also is to be understand between both of them to look after, share the time and work that needs to be done. And when it's not shared, that's where the problem comes. The man said, it's not my work. Looking after the baby is the wife's or the woman's job. And the woman, even in the afternoon when both of them comes from work, both of them, and the men sit down and watch the TV. And there is a problem because the woman has to look after the change and make the food, dinner and everything. If it's there, the load is there. And because of the load, and I believe when there is no sharing, marriage is always meltdown. And this is also, I think it's a misunderstanding between both of them.
That's very true, Pastor, because I believe that also creates a lot of pressure. If you are a woman, and especially our society, they tend to be just, men tend to think that's their responsibility, they should do it. I wrote something down. Love wants to outdo the other. If you have the love of God in you, you want to outdo the other. Whether you're the woman or the man, you want to say, it's not about me. I came, you came. I know you tired, I'm tired. Let's do this thing. But my favorite program is on. That favorite program can come and go, and it's not as important as you helping and your children seeing you investing into them. I call that investment. Right now, those who are not married might not understand, but that's an investment. You're investing into your children. As a parent, I've seen that one thing that when I came, I've seen my wife being there doing the work. It's not easy full time, and especially for women to think about what to cook. It's a big thing. And when they ask their husband, what do you want to eat? Man, you know what to make. You the woman, make it. I'll eat it. And they make it for you. Oh, you made this? Oh, I thought you made that. You should. I called you. You said you're the woman. I made this. Just as simple as that. You might not know. I learned this. The Lord taught me. Don't used to ask, Brian, what do you want to eat? I used to say, it's up to you. What do you want to cook? Then one day the Lord said, why does she call and ask you? And the Lord spoke to me. The Spirit enlightened. I said, because we need to cook. Because she's concerned about you. Why asking you? Because she wants to know what you want to eat. Because if you, okay, we're going to eat together. See, we don't see it that way. We're only, why, you with your friends, and they should go, oh man. Never do that to your wife. When you avoid her phone, just in order to please somebody else. You know why? You might be in a meeting, you must reply. You should never be ashamed of your family, your children, or your wife in the presence of somebody else. Why? Why would you be ashamed of them? They are part of you. So just one of the things that you should take in consideration. So help out, I believe it will be very important because children are important in a marriage. Pastor Nikhil, before we go to the next topic, I'm going to give you a question here, and I believe you'll do justice to this. Pastor Nikhil, explain how financial mismanagement and the desire to be socially acceptable in the community could aid to the shake-up of the marriage life.